When redesigning your website, you need a safe environment to test changes without affecting your live site. HubSpot's content staging tool provides exactly that solution, giving you a safe environment to update new pages, upload new pages, and publish them and deploy them to your live environment safely. Content staging is a feature available in HubSpot Content Hub Professional and Enterprise, which essentially creates a separate environment for website redesigns. Your stage content will live on a separate domain, which will be your domain.sandbox.hssites.com until you're ready to publish. This separate domain and this separate environment allows you to create new pages, clone existing pages, change their templates, add new content, change images, change text, whilst having a safe domain to work from and to share links to as well. So your new pages will essentially live on that new Sandbox domain. You can link between the Sandbox domain pages and test an entire new website in a safe Sandbox environment. So to get to content staging inside of HubSpot, you just want to go to content in the sidebar here, go to website pages, go to more tools in the top right here, and hit content staging. Once you're in content staging, you'll see a few different things. So we've got our menu drop down here of domains. So if you do manage multiple domains in HubSpot, multiple websites, you can make sure to select the right one here and stage the right pages, of course. We've then got our manage section here. So we can select whether we want to stage a website page or a landing page. We can see our unmodified pages. So all of the pages on this domain that we haven't got a staged version for. We've then got our staged draft. So essentially if we've drafted a page here but haven't hit publish, they'll go in stage draft. Stage proof is for anything that has been published in content staging. So those are the pages that are published to your staging domain. We'll have a look at those in a moment. The other thing we've got here is create a new stage page. So if you don't want to clone or stage an existing page here, you can just create a brand new stage page. So let's say you're doing a completely new website inside of HubSpot. You might have your existing website on HubSpot, but you've got two new products to add. You can still stage a new page in content staging, giving you the staging domain, making sure everything is in one place, in one area in content staging, but you don't need to attach it to an existing page here. You can just create a brand new one. So if you want to stage a new page inside of HubSpot, just go into your unmodified section here, find the page that you want to stage. Conveniently, I have a content staging demo here. And I can hit stage, and I have three options. So the first option is to stage a blank page to replace an existing one. This is really perfect for complete overhauls, so say using a completely new template whilst maintaining your URL structure and analytics for that page too. The second option is to stage a clone of an existing page. This is really good for creating an exact duplicate of that page whilst preserving analytics, allowing you to keep what works while updating what doesn't or what other changes you want to make too. Really good for adding in new modules and sections of pages that you just want to create in a staging environment. Third option is to create a detached clone. So this creates a new page based on an existing one without replacing the original. So just to be clear on that, in this example, I will stage a detached clone, which is cloning the existing page, taking its template, images, copy, everything like that, but detaching it from that version, creating a undetached version. That means when it comes to publishing, it won't overwrite its existing page here. So just to be clear on that, if I'm staging content staging demo here, and I hit stage, these two options, stage blank page and stage clone page, will replace that current page when I publish it to production. So after I stage it and publish it, it will replace the live version with the stage one. So staging a detached clone won't do that. It will be a completely detached page on its own. For this demo, just to keep things simple, I'm going to stage a cloned version of this page and show you what the process is like in here. So if I hit stage there, now this opens up into our very familiar HubSpot editing UI here. So because this is a clone page, it might be that I just wanted to add in some new sections of content into this page. So I can go into sections here that we've got predetermined. I might want a new text module there, maybe a CTA banner here. These could have all been new modules that were designed for you. I might remove that one entirely and remove that section of content. I might put in some featured blog posts. I'm updating and really overhauling this page in its existing layout. So let's just say that was enough for us. You could go all out on this and start replacing lots of things, but I'm just going to say that's enough for this demo. Now, if I hit publish to staging, we've now got our new staged URL. So what we can do here is now go back to the content staging menu inside of HubSpot. Let me make sure I've got the correct domain. And now you'll see this in stage proof here. So I can view that if I want and open it up in a new tab and make sure I'm happy with it from a device and layout and responsive perspective. Making sure you're all happy with that, you can then go into publish. Make sure you find the right page. You can select multiple if you're overhauling your website, or select them all. Hit publish. Then this is going to allow you to add in some more information to go back on this and make sure you're aware of the changes that were made in the past. I'm not going to add that for this though. Hit the checkbox to make sure you're happy, and then hit publish. After doing this, your existing page will be replaced with your new staging page. So you can make sure you're happy with everything here. Open up this page. It will show you that one's been deleted and it's been replaced with this new page over here, the content staging page, and all of your analytics and everything like that will have carried over to it if you selected the clone version or stage from a blank page. So that's content staging inside of HubSpot. Again, you can use it to stage any page that you want, or sections of your website, or do entire website overhauls in content staging in this safe sandbox environment. The best time to use content staging in HubSpot is, of course, during a complete website redesign. That could be if your website is already inside of HubSpot and you use content staging to create that sandbox domain and you work from there. So you'll have cloned versions or new versions of all of those pages that are already on your current website attached to a page in the sandbox that you can then work on, change the template, change the modules, the text, and everything like that. If your website isn't in HubSpot already, you can still pre-provision your domain inside of HubSpot and create that sandbox environment again. So you'll have your domain inside of HubSpot that's ready to publish from, and then use content staging with a staged version of that domain still, even though your current website might be on WordPress or another CMS, you can still use content staging again to create all of your new pages on new templates and everything like that, and make sure you're happy with your website on that sandbox environment, on that staged domain, before publishing that to your domain as it is, and then you do all your DNS changes and everything like that afterwards. Some scenarios where you might want to avoid using content staging or using something else in HubSpot. One is for simple page creation. If you just want to create a new page inside of HubSpot, like a new resource or a new product or something like that, you might just be happy using the standard CMS page editor instead. It still allows you to preview the page, have a single preview link, have, different device screens that you can make sure the text is responsive and the modules on the page are responsive too. So if you're just doing a single page, the preview link is probably enough to make sure you and any stakeholders or your team are happy with that too. The other thing is if you're just making minor page updates like text changes or image swaps, again, you can just preview those using a preview link inside of HubSpot, and that's probably enough to satisfy the level of testing that you actually want to do on simple pages like that. Same goes for things like typos or updating contact information. Anything like that can just be done inside the page editor itself. Using content staging is probably overkill in that scenario. Some important limitations to remember is that content staging doesn't offer complete website duplication. Unlike some common hosting platforms that enable you to duplicate an entire website into a staging domain, content staging is essentially managed page by page. So you need to clone or create a staged version of every single page one by one. You can't just click a button and stage every single page of your website. So worth bearing that in mind too. It does allow you to have tighter control over what you change though. Global elements also need separate management. So things like navigation and footer, you'll need to be cloning those if they're used in your active live environment to make sure that you don't accidentally publish any changes that should have only been suitable in your content staging area. Blog pages also can't be redesigned and hosted directly in content staging. So again, you'll kind of have to work around this by cloning a blog, using a new blog template on that new blog, maybe having a bit of dummy content in there to actually see the blog listing and blog pages themselves, sharing those links to make sure everybody's happy before you go live. Then when it comes to go live, just making sure you switch over those templates as well. Also, final point, it's worth noting that if you do make any template changes, these will affect live pages too. So if you're staging new pages and it's a completely new template, you'll be fine. But if you're staging pages using an existing template, if you do change that template, that is not specific to staging. A template is a template, whereas content staging is all about the page. So you can change all the page content on there, it won't affect the template, but worth bearing in mind, any template changes will affect live pages and staging pages. So HubSpot does have some other staging environments too to be aware of, because it's important to note the difference on these things. So content staging, as we've spoken about, is specifically for website content updates and page redesigns. You then have developer sandbox accounts, which are for testing new templates, modules, and custom functionality and APIs and integrations, those sorts of things. It's important to note here, you can't clone pages and page content and images into developer sandboxes. They're purely for testing out new functionality in code, essentially. You then have CRM sandboxes, which are essentially focused on testing CRM configurations and processes. So you can clone some CRM data and objects and things like that to enable you to make sure you're happy with the new processes that are happening on the CRM side of things, but not the website side of things. If you are planning to use content staging for your next website redesign in HubSpot, here's a few best practices for success. So firstly, hopefully it goes without saying, but plan your website updates thoroughly before beginning. So do a full content inventory, document your site architecture, make sure everything that ends up in content staging is what you're happy with for your live site. Anything you want to get rid of on your old pages, unpublish those, make sure you've got a redirection plan in place so that you don't end up with half a website on a new design, half a website on an old design. Global elements, we've already mentioned, make sure you're cloning those and giving yourself a safe environment to edit navigations and footers without affecting any live websites. And of course, hopefully again, goes without saying, make sure you're testing all of these pages in the sandbox on different devices and screen sizes to make sure they're all fully responsive and work on every single device possible. So to close things off, obviously content staging has a few limitations, but it's an absolutely essential tool for managing website updates inside of HubSpot. If you're planning a redesign or just updating a few sections of your website, content staging is absolutely the tool you want to be using to create a safe environment that allows you to test things and deploy them in a managed way.